Hey everyone, I'm excited because we are starting a brand new series. We are studying the book of Revelation. Revelation is, of course, the last book of the Bible, and it's one of those books that a lot of Christians are afraid of, uh, quite simply because it's difficult to understand. And yet, when we read the opening verses of Revelation, uh, John says, "Blessed is the one who reads aloud the words of this prophecy, and blessed are those who hear and who keep what is written in it, for the time is near." Revelation is the only book of the Bible that promises a blessing to those who read it. Of course, you'll be blessed by every book of the Bible, but Revelation specifically tells us that if we study it, we will be blessed. And that's why I'd like to invite you to study the book of Revelation with me. I believe that we will be blessed as we do so. The major question in this video that we want to answer is what kind of book is the book of Revelation? You know, depending on the genre, the type of literature that a book is how you should read it or interpret it. We don't read a newspaper, a novel, an encyclopedia, a poem, a song, in the same way, right? And so it's important to understand what kind of book is the book of Revelation. Fortunately for us, John, the apostle, the author of Revelation, tells us specifically in the opening verses what kind of book Revelation is. And there's three things that John tells us about the kind of book that Revelation is. First of all, the opening line of Revelation 1:1, the revelation of Jesus Christ. In the Greek text, the very first word of the book of Revelation is revelation, apocalypsis in Greek. And actually, scholars have come up with a genre of literature entitled apocalyptic literature. We see apocalyptic literature in Daniel, in Zechariah, in the Old Testament. Of course, Revelation is apocalyptic. Also, there were many apocalyptic books written that are not in the Bible, like Enoch and things like that. Now, apocalyptic, what they have in common are they're very visionary, a lot of visions and symbolism, fantastical beasts and things that are happening, similar to fantasy today, but they are symbolic of spiritual truths. And apocalyptic literature really is literature that's trying to convey to us spiritual realities, things that are true, by means of visions. And they are communicating about spiritual realities and conflicts and truths that we cannot perceive with the naked eye. And as Christians, of course, we know that we believe that there are many things taking place all around us all the time that we cannot perceive with the naked eye. So Revelation is apocalyptic. Secondly, Revelation is prophetic. I opened with the blessing. In verse 3, it says, "Blessed is the one who reads aloud the words of this prophecy." Revelation is prophecy. Revelation is prophetic. Now, the biblical definition of prophecy is both foretelling and forthtelling. That is, a prophecy concerns the present. God usually in prophecy convicts us of things that we need to change in our lives or encourages us and comforts us. And prophecy, of course, is also forthtelling. It concerns the future. As John says here, the things which must soon take place. And finally, thirdly, in the beginning of verse 4, it says, "John to the seven churches that are in Asia." Now, a lot of people don't realize that the book of Revelation is also a letter. It's written by John, the apostle. It's written to seven churches that are in Asia, speaking of the Roman province of Asia Minor in modern-day Turkey. And that's something that's important to remember as we study the apocalyptic visions and the prophecy of John and Revelation. We need to remember that John had an original audience. And so as we try to understand John's visions, before we skip to the present day, we need to put ourselves in the sandals of the congregants of the churches of Asia Minor in the first century and try to understand it from their perspective and then try to apply it to our lives today. So that's really what I wanted to share in this first video. Number one, I'd encourage you to read and study Revelation along with me. because God promises to bless you as you do. And number two, how should we read the book of Revelation? Well, it's apocalyptic, it's prophetic, and it is a letter. I'd encourage you to join us for our next video as we continue to talk about the introduction to Revelation. Subscribe to our channel if you want to be notified automatically whenever I come out with a new video. God bless you, and thanks for joining us.